And this meditation was inspired by a quote from Anaïs Nin. She said, "The day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom." Take a deep breath in and a slow breath out. Good. And just allow the breath to find its natural rhythm. Allow your inner gaze to move to your heart space. And even imagine right here at your heart center is a small bud of a flower resting there. The bud is closed, it's safe, but holding infinite potential within. And I want you to think of this little bud as you, holding onto the known, wrapped in the comfort of familiarity. So you're this bud, it's closed, but it's safe. And as you sit with this image, ask yourself, what am I holding on to out of fear? What am I holding on to out of fear? Where in my life am I resisting change, even though I feel called to grow? Where in my life am I resisting change, even though I feel called to grow? And what is keeping me tight in this bud? What is keeping me tight in this bud? So listen without judgment, just only this awareness, this calm, abiding awareness. And then keep the image of the bud. Again, you're that bud held tightly. Yes, it's safe and comfortable, but it's preventing you from growing, from opening, from blossoming. So shift your attention right now to feeling that tightness in the bud. Maybe the pain of staying in the bud, not as suffering, but as a sign. So that it's comfortable to be in that safe environment, but there is something, there's a pain from you not growing, not expanding. So it's almost like a seed stretching beneath the soil, ready for the light. So imagine the bud's petals pressing against its own boundaries. It wants to open. It was never meant to stay closed. Just noticing your natural breath, the breath that comes and goes, that flows in and flows out. And feel the breath around your heart space, around the tight bud. Imagine with every gentle breath, you're gently nudging the bud to open. Giving the bud your attention is like shining some light, like sunlight that calls the bud to open. So it's often fear that prevents us from opening. Just like thinking about your heart center as a flower. And to live with your heart open is such a beautiful place to live. That's to be in full presence. No mind, no story, no narrative. Just to simply be fully present with your heart open. And this is really hard for us humans to do. We have moments of it and it can feel wonderful. It's the place where love can flow freely. We can give, we can receive. But before we know it, the heart closes again due to our past, our experiences, our memories, our conditioning. You know, we got hurt along the way. And so it taught us to close our heart to protect ourselves. So that's the reason why we don't judge the bud being closed. But yoga invites another way. It invites us to let go. Yoga is not about getting something, getting somewhere. It's about letting go of the ways we get in our own way from being open. So come back to the breath again, feeling your breath gently caressing the bud within your heart. And this fear is so strong in us that we stay closed for a long time. And even when we open, like I mentioned, we close again. So the fear is greater. But one day, the pain of staying closed becomes greater than the fear of staying closed, the fear why we stay closed. And so when that pain becomes greater, that we're stuck, we're locked in, we're not sharing our full self, our full potential. When that pain becomes greater, it's somewhere, somehow it shifts, it tips. And when that pain is greater, then we may choose to open. So whisper silently to yourself, I choose growth over fear. I choose love over fear. I choose light over fear. And I trust the unfolding of my life. Just feel the warmth in your heart as the bud begins to soften. Again, each breath is nudging it open. Your attention is shining the light. And just like a flower will naturally move towards the light, the outer layers loosen. And with every breath, a petal unfolds, revealing more of your true essence. And there's no rush, there's no pressure. Growth happens in its own time. It takes courage to open your heart. With each inhale, breathe in the courage. With each exhale, release the fear of the unknown. This is why we don't want to open. It's unknown in the bud. It's known, it's safe, it's comfortable. So as you picture the bud opening, you could even, in your imagination, picture what flower that is opened. What color is the flower? Even breathing in the scent, the essence of the flower. Continue to watch your breath. Feel the bud, the blossoming, the bud. Even turning the corners of your mouth slightly up. Just the sweetest smile for the blossoming of the bud. And you only need to blossom in this moment. There's nothing wrong with going back to the bud, when it's necessary, because the world can be harsh. And I think that's a great skill and tool to have. But it's to know the difference between choosing to close it to protect ourselves and then just unconsciously closing, just out of fear of the unknown, fear of change, fear of growth. But for now, the heart can be open. And noticing the quality that's different. I mean, the bud, yes, it's safe and comfortable. It's known. But the difference is that when you're open, your inner light can shine. You can give more presence to others, to the world. You can receive love more fully as well as give. Your light shines. You're a little bit brighter. And joining your hands now in front of your heart's center. So have your hands close, your fingers close together and thumbs, like you're making that bud, that tight bud here. And this meditation was inspired by a quote from Anaïs Nin. She said, "The day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom." I'm going to repeat that. And the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. So let's go ahead and blossom our little bud here. Open the 3 middle fingers, opening like a flower. In Buddhism, this is symbolic of the lotus flower. And the lotus flower rises up from the mud, the muck of life. It doesn't touch the water. The stem comes up and then it blossoms outside of the water without ever touching the murky water. So as you peer into the flower and you see the yellow stamen, that's your inner light. That's what shines. That's your love and your beauty and your uniqueness. Om Mane Padme Hum. Om Mane Padme Hum. Om Mane Padme Hum. May the jewel within the lotus be realized. And may we open to bring this forth in the world. So feel your hands in our namaste position with hands at the heart. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti Hi. Om peace, peace, peace. And I thank you for meditating with me, honoring the light within you. Namaste, my friend.